All right. Let me go through the folks that are here. We don't have anybody online, I guess, but just for future reference, not reverence, reference. Bill, Tom, Frank, Larry, Susan. Susan, right? And did you submit pictures this time?
I did.
Oh, okay. We'll see if we found them.
When I sent the email, I said, the subject was, please don't forget me.
Well, those that know me really well know not to trust me, so we'll find out. Chuck, and it's Bob, right? There's an inside joke on that when I called him the wrong number as we walked up to the door. Helen, Josie, Linda, and your name, Lynn, right, with an E on the end? Okay.
You didn't forget Tom, did you?
No, he started with me.
Oh.
Well, I hope I did, but if not, Tom is here. We have 25 pictures today, and that's a load, but I think we'll make it through. But I know Lynn has an announcement. We'll come back to others if there are other announcements. But Susan, you have one too? Oh, about the fiddles? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so you'll see from my pictures, I went to the violin shop downtown in Pittsburgh, and I talked to the owner, and when I explained to him what I was doing, he said, if someone is interested, it's a volunteer opportunity, but he is sending out a violin in the next couple of weeks, I think by February 8th or something. And if someone would be interested in taking photographs of the violin for him to use, to send to this customer, that if somebody wanted to do that, I can give you his name and the information if you want to call him and tell him you're going to come over. But I thought that was an opportunity if somebody wanted to do that. One of the reasons why I didn't want to do it is he also wants to make sure the color of the violin is correct. In other words, he wants everything to be correct when he sends it. So if somebody's interested in this opportunity,
It's community service. Community service.
yeah. Anyway, I told him.
Okay.
Okay, we've talked a little bit about this before. Would you all be interested in doing another exhibit here at the church, April or maybe first half of May?
Sure.
Yeah. How many photographs?
Well, probably no more than 4, depends on how many people want to participate.
Right, okay.
And I think the requirement would be the pictures would have to have been taken in 2023 or later, or this year. Oh, so in other words, nothing from your archives.
Okay, all right.
2023 or early this year.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
And you know, the after,
Oh, we do have somebody online.
oh, hi, Stephen.
Hey, how you doing?
We're doing fine. We're talking about the idea of another exhibit, April, May, with the photos being drawn from your catalog starting January 1, 23 and on. You know, when we did the first one, that might have been a stretch, I think, to get ready in that period of time, but not anymore for this group. I mean, everybody in here has way more than 4 that would be very welcomed for the next exhibit. But
So I'm asking the question because before we can do it, I have to get approval from the church. So I didn't want to ask.
Do you have a date in mind?
Well, the month of April and then maybe the first half of May, so for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I don't have a specific date.
yeah, I think that the key is we're going to have to check with the church to see what dates might be open. And it's not just one date, but it's the span of dates. And once we know that, then we can give you all some choices.
And would you tell us how they have to be displayed? Are they hanging? Do they have to be hangables, stick on the wall, little
Yeah,
nails and stuff,
No, you mean, well, we have all the hanging equipment,
okay.
so there are rods that come down and hooks, so we would need to have a wire.
A wire.
Yeah.
Where are the things that hang down? They're in the closet. Cool. The hooks are over there in that cabinet. Cool. So, all right, I will proceed with getting approval then. Great. Perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah.
well, nobody has done an exhibit here except us. And we were the impetus for getting this stuff up. And so if nobody else is going to take advantage of it, we are. So,
So I think Easter is March 31st. Does that sound right? What would happen if we hung it up on the day before Easter?
March 30th?
I don't know, maybe you might be away, I don't know what people's plans are.
I'll be here.
Stephen,
Yes.
are you able to hear?
I am. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay, all right. All right, any other announcements?
I
Frank?
just passed out the listing, one at each table. Those are the next group of challenge subjects that take us out to the end of August. I had sent them out after our last meeting, and I had heard from two people saying, no, this is great, this will be fine. So I just wanted to make sure we're okay, everybody is all right with these, and then before I post them on the main sheet, so that we can start moving forward.
All right. Bill, you're up if you wish to be.
I wish to be.
Aha.
Now, since we have a good amount of images today, I'll make it really quick. Well, I said you could hear us, okay.
I know, but
Okay. All I want to do is put out a reference here. Whenever I talk about what I shoot something at, I'm talking in full frame focal lengths. They are different equivalents in crop sensors. So if, what this is showing here is what is captured by a full frame camera, like that I have. Now, something with the APS-C sensor or a crop sensor like, well,
The ADD, yeah.
the ADD, the SL2s, I know Chuck has a crop sensor as well. As you're looking through that viewfinder, you're seeing this. And it's something that they call it
Perspective?
degree, the view,
Oh, point of view.
point of view. So what it is, it's just that the sensor inside the full frame is much bigger. The lens actually ends up being bigger and lets more of the image come through. With a crop sensor, you have a smaller sensor inside your camera. Then if you buy a crop sensor lens, it's usually thinner, lighter, smaller, which would then fill in here. So when I talk about, I shot something at 100 millimeters. From a crop sensor perspective, that's 70. So you would get the same image, if I had Susan and she had a 100 millimeter, I had a 100 millimeter full frame, she would set hers at 70 and we would see the same thing. So just keep in mind that, just for conversation purposes, when I say I shot something at 24 millimeters, that's more like 16 millimeters for a crop sensor. So it's just a matter of understanding what the terms mean. And that's the whole point of this. Oops.
The goal for full frame has always been the shape and size of a 35 millimeter film camera. And that's what all this crop sensor, whatever, has evolved to get you closer to what the 35 millimeter is.
And then this is just a quick reference of approximate, because this is what they call a 1.6 crop factor, which is actually for Canon. It's a 1.5 for Nikon and Sony and everybody else. But if I'm shooting over here, like 105 millimeters, what a crop sensor is going to be somewhere in the area about 66. So yeah, it's just one of these things where if people are with each other and say, what are you shooting this at? Well, I have a full frame, so I'm shooting at 100 millimeters. And if they want to try to simulate it, they have to realize that with a crop sensor, they have to get down around 66, 70.
Get that whole picture.
To get the same image.
Or alternately, use the manual zoom and just take a few steps back.
Yeah.
That's so high-tech.
That's all this was about, was just to realize that since we do have different cameras, and sometimes when somebody says, oh, this was shot at 24 millimeters, you kind of realize that if you have a crop sensor, it's going to be different. That's all it's about.
Okay.
All right. Hopefully, this is Bob, not an old picture of Bob, but
I took the easy way out. We were kids sitting for one of my sons, and they happened to have a guitar in the house, so I took the easy route. I did do it on manual after Bill's tutorial last time. It's 1/80th of a second, f5.6. I cropped it, and that was it.
well, Bobby, I can't look at this and not say this yet again, but the lighting, the color intensity, just spot on.
And the crop.
Good.
Yeah.
Does your grandson play?
No, he doesn't watch plays, but he doesn't know music comes out.
So we're not going to pay quite yet to go here.
No, not yet.
It's so charming.
And I'm looking at my display. Does every other display here show darker than what it is on the TV?
Why am I just seeing this?
Others that are on?
I'm not seeing an image, I'm seeing you.
Okay, well, thank you for letting me know. Be back out of this. I think I know what I did. I didn't click to share. That would do it. And I was just congratulating myself for thinking that if this was going so well. Is that better?
There we go.
Is it still darker than the screen on the computer? Yeah.
Looks a bit, yeah.
Yeah, it's a little, but on the displays that are here, it's perfect.
There was a bruise on his face and where he jumped off the couch onto something else.
Yeah, we need to adjust this again.
Yeah.
I'll try to remember to do that.
He is all beat up, yeah.
All right, this next one is also for Bob.
And this is his uncle, who does play guitar. And actually makes guitars, but anyway, this is a little guy's guitar that my older son is playing.
That is delightful.
This is your son?
Isn't he?
That's my grandson, and the older one is it's not this little guy's father, it's his uncle. So I've got two
Your other
sons.
son.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, the grandson looks fascinated.
Yeah. And this was also done on manual, same 180.
No, you're doing well with the manual.
Yeah, super, Bob.
It's the same setting, and it's green here and it was gray in the previous.
Yeah.
That's true.
But the color balance,
What
it,
color is the wall? Is it green or red?
I'm shade blind.
but the skin color is the right color.
I'm the last one to ask.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That is so cool.
I like his collegiate.
Yeah, he's a supporter.
Her expression's just right too, you know?
And Bob, I wonder if if you cropped it even more, you can't really see the lines I'm drawing, but you can see the blue dots as the outline. What it would look like if you shrunk what was the view. But
There's a lot in that picture.
yeah,
And I struggled with, there's stuff in back
Yeah.
and.
well, but you look back at the outlet and the high chair, that's all out of focus, which is depth of field. And so I think you can leave some of that without it. But all right, Bob, well done. Josie is up.
These are from 2009, and I chose these instead of pictures of piano keyboards in a certain way and so on and so forth, because friends of ours gave the school where we were her grand piano and then paid $26,000 to have it reconditioned, refurbished, and refinished. And this place is between Austin and Plano, Texas, in the middle of nowhere. And we went there to see it once it was all finished, and I took a lot of pictures of the pianos that were in various stages. And the first one, go back to the first one, please, Mike.
Yep.
There you see what you never see. The keys, the pegs, the hammers, all of that have been taken out of the particular piano that he's working on. And everything that's soft, everything that's felt has been replaced. And the same thing was done to the piano that our friend gave. We just don't get to see that very often.
The colors are also amazing, and it really, are those colors.
They really are, thank you.
But the wood on the previous one, I don't know if it's mahogany or not, but look at the grain on the,
That, I believe, is a Steinway from before 1900.
Wow.
Yeah. And then this is a different piano, and it's all been refurbished, and he's put it back together, and there he's shoving it in.
Wow.
Great.
And these were all taken with a Canon 40D, which is not full frame. And the first one was 1/25 of a second ISO 80 and 17 millimeter translating to about 27. And then this one I speeded up a lot to 1/320th and was at f2.8 and an ISO of 1000.
Can you imagine sitting down to that after it was all put together?
And then this is the piano our friend gave. It's been put all back together, and she played it for us. And my husband is the one with his chin on his hand. The man Bernard Mulberg, who this is his business. He's the other one, and that's what they look like when they're finished. Beautiful.
Wow.
that's a dream.
A good story too. All right, thanks, Josie. Bill is up.
This was the one that I titled the Guitar ER. Frank and I had gone down to the Sullivan Music down at near the Circle down in Pittsburgh. And this was, there's a little workbench way in the back.
Yeah, he does a lot of repairs down there.
Yeah,
He passed away, didn't he?
He seemed okay when we were there.
Well, if it were,
This guy was,
No,
I assumed he was.
150, yeah.
the previous.
No, I didn't know, maybe his father had owned it, or?
Well, he was, the one that I knew at that very store
Really?
passed away.
In the last 2 years or so.
Yeah, it has, yeah, yeah, that's exactly right.
Oh.
And we never got his name.
And I was wondering if it was still open, but obviously it is.
Yeah.
He must have sold that business. I
He
don't know.
did, so,
Oh, okay.
his wife sold it.
Right.
He had a music shop that,
Yeah.
but it was
But
like,
he also played.
Yeah, he was a big deal in terms of TV and bands that there were.
They named the outdoor theater at Chatham Park after him.
Oh, okay.
He was sweet, sweet.
Well, how old was the guy in this place?
70, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Ponytail. Hey, was that Chuck?
No, Chuck's not near that old.
So what I did.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What I did with this one is I shot it at f10 because I wanted a lot of depth of field. I shot it at 24 millimeters, which the equivalent would be about 16 for a crop sensor. Because what I wanted to do is get everything from the right-hand corner to the left-hand corner in focus. Because I'm not shooting this straight on, I'm on kind of an angle. So I wanted to make sure I had enough depth of field to follow it through. So that if I wanted to get closer in on anything, that I'd have enough sharpness to find that picture in a picture. And it's 6400 ISO and 1/25 of a second.
Handheld?
Hmm?
Handheld?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
all handheld. Yeah, this one, let's see.
It's a cigar box.
It was just, this is just the way it was sitting there. There was no setting up or no moving stuff around to do it. And I just found this interesting because of the old amp that it's sitting on. It's got the operating guide. You got the guitar, accordion. And in the back, I think that little thing with the white on the top, that might be something that people drum on or something like that. So I just like the fact that there's a number of different instruments in it.
yeah,
The light coming through the window.
yeah, that's really nice.
Really didn't do much to this except maybe just crop it a little bit. And this one was at f8, 1/6 of a second, ISO 64.
Handheld 1.6, wow.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, yeah, with the Z8, you had 5.5 stops of
Yeah.
vibration reduction, so you can do it.
What was it?
But-
It was,
It was just such a great place.
it was, I mean, everything, you were talking about a tripod, I was afraid to put a tripod up because I didn't want to knock anything over, everything was so
Oh,
cramped.
it's in disarray, it's dusty, things are laying everywhere. It's great. Now, this guitar, it intrigued me because of the inlays on the frets on the neck. And I love the blue of the,
Frets.
the,
I think those are pickups.
I forget what they're called.
Pickups.
Pickups, yeah. And it was the only one that was there was like that. But what I did is, the background was kind of distraction. It was milky colored, it really didn't add anything to it. So what I did is I selected the guitar and then did an inverse so that I would affect everything else. And everything outside of the guitar is black and white. I changed to black and white so that it kind of let you focus in on the color of the guitar and of the neck and the inlays. And
It's very effective. Yep.
Yeah.
It is.
yeah, this was just
It really
51
brings out those
millimeters,
shadows, so-
f9, ISO 7200.
7,200.
Yeah, because of the darkness.
Yeah. Yeah, the days of worrying about ISO have ended with the new cameras.
Say that again, Bill, just, I like to write it down.
This was at 51 millimeters, f9, 1/25 of a second, and 7200 ISO. And I always have my exposure compensation on the underexposed side a little bit,
Yeah.
because it's always easier to bring something out of the shadow than to sometimes push down a highlight.
So what would you have it at, like 1 or 2?
0.7,
So not even 1?
right? Yeah.
Interesting shot.
Very good.
And now we're going to somebody that actually plays. Larry.
So, this is, because I did watch the video that Bill sent out,
I recognize the, yes.
right?
Yes.
And I did the same thing. I used my dining room table. I have a blackboard, so I covered it with a blackboard, and I took a number of them, but this one I thought showed the frets and the tuning knobs, and that's why the bass of the guitar is a little bit out of focus, but that was on purpose.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, this is classic.
Reverse perspective.
Right.
Yeah,
I went the other way,
Yeah,
and this looked better.
Yeah.
I like it, yeah.
it's a good shot, Larry.
This was, at 1/5 of a second. I used a light, so I kept moving it. I took a picture of the light in different positions. You know, not the light, but the guitar in different positions depending on where I was holding the light. And I like this one best.
And-
so this was at 3200 ISO.
Okay.
And it was a 1/5 of a second and f8 and 67 millimeters.
Do you have a tripod or did you?
Oh, yeah. I tried it without a tripod.
It's tough to hold the mic in.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah. Hold it steady,
Yeah, so
You gotta
the
stand.
tripod was perfect, you know, and I just left that alone, and all I did was just rearrange the light.
Larry, was this, when we saw you out at the plant, weren't you playing acoustic?
Yeah,
Acoustic
this
electric?
is electric. I have an electric. This is an Ibanez. You can't really see the name very clearly because it's an inlay, so it doesn't show up very clearly.
It's like a beautiful guitar.
Sure does.
It's a semi-hollow. Oh. Yeah. That's a different perspective.
I think you chose the right one.
Yeah.
All right, and this is,
Okay, so this
One of his.
This is a bell I keep around the house.
Is it a dinner bell?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's dinner, you can hear it, you know, in Sanford.
yeah,
We'll all come over.
That's right. This is a Carillion bell that I took a couple of years ago. And this is just one of the, I can't remember if there were 15 or 20 bells in the Carillions, but went up into the tower and cropped that bell, because there's so many more mechanical things. There's bells on top, bells on the bottom. I can't remember the size, the tone of this bell, but I would imagine this was a very deep tone. And if you take a look at those figures on top of the bell, I couldn't figure out what those were, right? You see the figures?
Oh,
Yeah.
Look like cats.
oh, here,
Right there.
that white.
Oh,
Oh, that's cool.
that's neat.
Okay, yeah.
Look how sharp that is, that close.
It was a wonderful, and then the next picture I have is.
This is the rest of the
This is a
story.
60th of a second, and that's 6.3.
Oh, and
I saw
there's-
640, and I said 6.3, 25 millimeter. And then this is the Carillonniere,
Oh,
French, Near, Neur,
maybe you are.
Carillonniere. So he controls the bells.
Incredible.
His, he's, so you can see some of the music, I couldn't,
read it.
but anyway, he's a grand old bell man, he also does he's in charge of this Carillion, but he's also in charge of the church bells, which I think there are one, two, there's 6 church bells. They ring those every Sunday.
Where is this, Larry?
This is in Swanee at the University of the South.
Oh, okay. So they can have change ringing on those bells?
What do you mean?
So, would they?
Oh, they're hand controlled.
Yeah.
And there's a group, one of my friends is in that group. And so they ring bells every Sunday.
Well, they don't play tunes often, I think.
Yes, they do.
Oh, they do? On the
Yeah,
old
there's
ones
a
now?
whole
Really?
whiteboard, and it tells you what bell, whatever bell you're at, and what the tune is to play.
Oh, okay.
And they change it out all the time. Every Sunday's a different setup, so they go into practice, and so you hear the bells during the week because they're practicing.
Did you go to school there?
No, but he taught there, and he's living there now.
When I saw this, Larry, I wondered how the bells in the belfry were controlled. I thought, is it electronic? But this is all done by strings, basically.
Wires.
Incredible.
Yeah, so this was, basically, the only thing that changed on this was the ISO 400. But it was fun going up there while he played the bells. He was a very interesting guy. He's been doing this for decades. And they have bell conferences. So my friend went to a bell conference in Toronto, where all the bell ringers are. And a lot of them came in from England. Because England does more of the manual pulse, England does more of this. But he says that the level of sophistication was so high that he just became an observer rather than a player, because he was intimidated entirely by some of these bell ringers in Canada, Toronto.
And where was this again, Larry?
This is in Swanee, Tennessee, at the University of the South.
Okay.
That's so remarkably sharp from.
Yes, you can read the notes. All right. Another good story, Larry.
Yeah.
And now, inquiring minds want to know, Tom, like I needed to tell you.
Yeah, okay, this is a photograph this is a tree that I've been looking at for several years, all the way up to Susan's house, actually, at Sterling. And, she said, I don't like it, it's too, it looks baked, it looks over sharpened. But, anyway, I just had this thing about pianos and wood.
Well, how was it done? I mean,
It was decent.
Let's see, it's a composite. It's, the next photograph is a photograph of the keyboard, which is, shot,
How did you even get that? Wow.
so that's the keyboard of Alice's piano. And I shot it as a panorama. And I tried to not be careful. I tried to let it wander to make it more interesting. Yeah. And so then I took this and I thought, wouldn't it be interesting to put that in that tree that I'm looking at? So I it's exactly how I did that.
did she get mad at you for tearing her piano up?
Yeah, I really distressed it how overbaked that looked. But anyway,
I don't see that. I mean, it doesn't look that, it looks sharper on screen than it does on my display.
yes, yeah, you're right. Yeah, let's see. Yeah.
saw it when he enlarged it, but like that, at that perspective, it looks fine to my eye.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm sitting close to it.
It could be, yeah.
It just looks,
Yeah, I know what you mean, but I think, you're being too hard on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, agree.
I mean, it's a piano and a tree. You want it perfect.
Maybe, no, I'm not gonna say that next joke about it being flat or sharp, but never mind.
I love the way you frame your shot.
thank you.
Yeah,
Great.
So, yeah, it turned out, like, it was, let's see, I thought, okay, I gotta learn how to do this, so I learned how to do it, and you asked me how I did it, and after I do 5 or 10 of them, I might be able to answer that, but it's complicated, and I had to look at a lot of tutorials.
are you talking about the frame?
No, the frame is simple.
Okay. I was just thinking, I got caught up on the idea of maybe doing something that, as a tips and tricks.
Oh, the frame?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would only know how to do it on Affinity.
Well, you can do it in Elements as well.
Yeah,
So
I'm
there's
sure,
a,
I'm sure,
yeah.
but I don't know who would do it.
Well, as usual, Tom, really great. This one ought to be framed as a panorama.
Yeah.
All right, we're going on to, is this Susan?
Yeah, this is.
Oh, I guess I included them after all.
You did include me, thank you, Mike, thank you, Mike. So I went to the, as I mentioned, I went to the violin, shop. It was fascinating, you all should go there. And this was, there were various repairs that he was doing onto violins. And so if you make it just a little bit, I don't know if you make it a little bigger, Mike, just to see that, that cabinet. I mean, there's just all kinds of stuff. And so I was just kind of fascinated.
Surgical tools.
Yeah, and I took lots of pictures, but since I only wanted to do 2, and the other one is something completely different. I didn't do go back. I didn't do the pretty, it's a really nice shop and there's pretty stuff. And I showed this picture, another one, to a friend. I said, should I do the interesting or pretty? And she said, do the interesting. So I thought this really is kind of amazing, and there's all kinds of stuff there. And if you also see in the back, I don't know if you can see up on top of the chest, that there's even little flyers there for different
Oops.
different things. They're sort of washed out a little bit, but just, he has pictures all over.
The one that he wants a picture of, do you know, is it the violin that he wants a picture of? Do you know anything about that? Is
No,
it?
but it's not one he made, but it's, he resells them.
Mm-hmm.
It's just regular, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Not a Stradivarius or anything like that.
But anyway, so I took this with it was on FA, aperture priority, 140 for the second, ISO 2500 and 21 millimeters. And one thing I did do, I shot it at raw, and then I tried to sharpen it just because I wanted to make sure that chest was sharp and accepted their auto ISO changes from the program for raw. Did haze removal and did some cropping.
You got nice texture on that, box.
That's what I was trying to
It's
get.
trying to zoom in on it. It won't let me do that for now.
This is one of the ones where
I know,
up on the
that's-
monitor is nicer than what's
On the
on
screen.
the screen.
Okay.
Because that shows a lot more like depth and
Yeah.
texture and things like that.
That's.
Yeah.
Yeah, channeling Graham Bird. There's another picture in the picture.
Yeah, well, I like that little wheel or
Yeah, the
whatever was
hypodermic.
coming up, I thought,
Yeah,
ooh,
there's the
that's-
story.
Yeah, the whole thing, I mean, if you look at the whole thing, I mean, the
You have to shoot up when you're trying to work on these things.
just all kinds of, yeah, just all kinds of stuff, and so I like
And I
that.
like the colors all
Yeah.
interdispersed throughout the whole image.
I'd like to get rid of that fire hydrant,
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
fire extinguisher.
Yeah, I know, I guess
Yeah, that
I
would
went a little bit crazy with just all the stuff.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, probably should have taken that fire hydrant out.
And Susan, did you have another one?
What?
Did you have another one?
Another what?
Photo?
Yes, this is the other one.
I'm sorry, I can't let go of my goof.
It's okay, it's okay. So when I was worried about whether or not I was gonna get enough pictures, I asked a friend of mine who plays the saxophone. And I asked him if I could come over and take pictures of him playing the saxophone.
That's really nice.
Private concert.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, he did start playing, because at first he was like, should I play? I was like, yeah, go ahead and play. So I really wanted to get his face. It's great, right?
And wonderful background for it also.
Yeah.
It almost looks like snow, but if it was darker, it would absorb his face. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was shot at f8, 160/70. ISO ended up being 8,000.
Whoa, wow.
38 millimeters.
Because it was so dark inside and then
Yeah,
back.
That probably blew out the back.
And I actually straightened vertically, I straightened it vertically.
Well, it is straight.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
Gotta print this and give it to him.
I know,
Oh, yeah.
I know. Well, I'm gonna send him the pictures. Also, I kind of wanted to include a picture that had enough of the saxophone, because some of them, if I took it from the side, you know, you couldn't really see and he also got his face, blowing into.
All right.
You'd be happy with that.
And I have to say, apparently none of you recognize him. So none of you have none of you used to go to Mike Peel, the dentist in Pittsburgh. That's who this is. I don't know if you realize.
No, I never did.
Anyway,
Who is it?
who is it? It's Mike Peel. He was a dentist in Pittsburgh, and now Tawanna's taken over his practice. So I was wondering if anybody was gonna say, hey, that's Mike Peel.
All right. Good work, Susan. And Linda is up next.
Okay, from the archives, I was in France last spring, and this is in the town of Angers, in the Loire Valley, and the group I was with went out on a flat bottom boat for a ride on the river to take a look at everything around. And the accordionist asked if he could come aboard and play for us, and he did the entire time, and it was just so quintessentially French.
It is.
It was wonderful.
Well, this is one that you could crop, but it wouldn't tell the same story if it was cropped tighter.
Well, you know how I feel about storytelling.
I like the angle of the instrument too, is it sort of tipped a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I considered straightening the picture because it does seem to tilt to, but that's the way the picture really was.
Yeah.
So I left it, and in fact, straightening it made it less interesting.
I'm interested, where did you sit?
He's facing where we sat.
Mhm.
There was it was a covered area and there were benches.
And Mike, where did you learn how to play the?
I was gonna say,
Okay, if I look like that, I'm gonna get a cosmetic surgeon to come in, but what I want to know is who's driving the boat.
Oh, he's back too.
Oh.
That's really good.
I want to know, is it a hustle? Is this a hustle?
No, it was no hustle, it was just,
He didn't have a tin cup.
he just wanted to play.
So what did he put out, like something for you guys to put tips in?
No.
No?
No.
And is he singing too?
No.
It's like, oh,
Oh, yes, he was, I'm taking
Yeah,
back, he was singing, of course, I didn't understand a word of it. I'm guessing that he was paid by the company that was arranging our
Maybe, yeah.
tour, but.
Not just somebody that happened to have an accordion.
In his back pocket. Let me pull my accordion.
That picked up the red that's in the accordion, and it just makes them
Yeah.
stand up and say.
I really like the shirt.
Serendipity, that's really nice.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
traditional.
Stripes
Yeah.
and.
Yeah.
Traditional.
Yeah. This next one is also Linda.
And this is the same violin shop in Pittsburgh. I have a lot of, repetition of violins on the wall and
Yeah.
cellos.
I like
I'm glad
that.
you got this.
Yeah,
Very nice.
it's just, it's a wonderful place, and the guy who owns it was very welcoming. He said, "Oh, yeah, take all the pictures you want."
Oh, nice.
So, yeah.
So you just went in this past week too?
No, I was not there, I was there a while ago.
Oh, wow,
but-
okay, okay.
And that's from when we went
I
on a
like
field
the
trip.
way they're lined up.
Yeah, yeah.
We're in a second group and we do field trips every so often, and we go to Pittsburgh sometimes on them.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Is this a violin shop that's up on the second?
No, it's on the ground floor.
Level on the street level.
Yeah,
I can't picture.
If you're facing the courthouse, it would be on the left side of the main street.
On the lower block, wait, almost
Yeah.
down to the end.
Yeah,
exactly.
very
Down
Verlins.
from Burley's.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But I mean, it's just a wonderful
It's one of
place.
these are tucked inside.
And I had a very difficult time choosing which one of the photos I took there to include because they're displayed so beautifully.
I have to say, Bert, I'm glad you put this one in, because this was, you know, I took these photos, it's like, we really wanted to show
Yeah.
how beautiful the instruments were.
Well, this one's frameable, for sure.
We're getting all these possibilities for the show,
That's right.
right?
Every week we have possibilities for the show. Or every 2 weeks.
Right.
All right.
It's taken to 2024, would that be?
Oh, 2024 is okay.
Oh,
Yeah, anything from 23 to current would be,
Yeah, I have
would
one
be
from
okay.
late December 22, I might sneak it.
Please,
You didn't hear that.
We did.
Spirit.
All right.
Okay.
Very nice.
Good shots, Linda.
I'd try that in a heartbeat.
And Frank is next.
I can hear the maracas.
I found an old maraca in a desk drawer, and I took it out and I said, whoa, this would be interesting. So I got out my macro lens, and I set it up on a little table, and I used the old black sheet that I have and put it behind it.
Wow.
And I used that LED light that I put over to the side, that's what it looks like, it's
Here we-
side lit. And I think I even put a little, like a little flashlight just to light up underneath down on the bottom. But I was very happy the way it turned out, and also too, I wanted to fool around with the macro, because that's gonna be one of the challenges coming up. You know, get out to playing with that, so this one,
Shake the maraca for us.
Yeah.
yeah, this one was taken, like I said, it was a 90 millimeter macro lens that I had on my Canon 80D. It was 1.3 seconds, so obviously I put it on a tripod. And it was f8 and it was an ISO 100.
The interesting thing for me, Frank, is that what's interesting to me and good is that you didn't get any glare from the lighting.
No, because I had it at an angle,
Yeah.
shining down. It gives me years to go, play around with the macro some more.
And Frank, that's not dust, that's glitter. Yeah. You said there was dust on the sheet?
It was on
It's glitter,
a sheet, a black sheet that I had, and I was, so, glitter, is that what it is?
it's glitter.
No, she's-
It's clearly.
I don't know if it had any on it, maybe it came off, but
doing-
I'll call it glitter.
Yeah, go with glitter.
I'll go with glitter.
I like stars. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Must be something on the TV screen, I think.
Yeah,
Grand
Oh, yeah,
maraca.
over here, it's all like fingerprints and stuff.
yeah, the fingerprints are over on the left.
It's not on the screens, no.
I didn't know that you could, have that much depth of field on a macro. I mean, you said f8, but,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's a single exposure, not stacked, right?
right, not stacked, that's just one shot.
Yeah, interesting.
I still haven't figured out how to get everything in focus with macro. It seems like with one thing, this really is in focus.
It is.
Well, I've always had trouble with macros kind of handheld,
Yeah,
that's why I would put it on a tripod, because you can lock it in and, if you go to a large aperture, you get that, or close down aperture. And really, once you get beyond the front of the handle and the front of the maraca itself, not a lot back there.
This next one is Frank's too.
Now,
Yeah.
This is an interesting store. I don't know if anybody, I know Susan's heard of it, but I looked around for, musical instruments, displays, whatever. And I stumbled on the internet to this Simonetti tuba collection in Durham. So I emailed them and I said, I don't want to come up if they don't allow photographs. So I emailed, he said, yeah, you can come in as long as you're not using it commercially. So I said, no. So he said, yeah, come on in when, and I had to set a time at 3 o'clock on an afternoon. Interesting guy. I was the only one in there and he took me on a tour, went through all of the instruments and the history of them.
Wow.
He had played for the North Carolina Symphony. He said he had conducted the North Carolina Symphony for a little while, and then he played for the Durham Symphony. But he had, this was in a house in Durham, and there were about 5 rooms, and all on one floor, and all of them built with tubas, all kinds of wind instruments. But it was, I just found the guy fascinating. I spent about an hour and a half there with him, just talking.
Does he sell them, or is he a collector, or is it both?
I'm sorry?
Does he sell? or
No, he
is
only
a
collects them, yeah.
And I can only read one of them, but the one that is, and you can see that one says 1960 on it.
Yeah.
But I bet there's some of the others
So
are
he
even.
had one I was going to submit, but it was called the Serpent. It was an old, like one of the precursor to the tubas, and it looked like a snake,
Huh.
a serpent, but the way he had it displayed, it was too close to the ones around it. I couldn't get a great image out of it, so I figured, well, then step back and go for the blunt look, you know, all of them in the back there. It was a great place. It was a lot of fun.
Is that over near
Huh?
Maple?
Looks like a course.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Good.
Is that over near Maple Wood Cemetery?
It's on,
Chapel.
it's right off of the business 15501. As you go up with it, Virginia Ham Store is, you're heading north on 15501, but stay to the left and go to the old business. And after about a mile, there's a left-hand turn. It's right up that road.
And it's bright yellow.
No,
Okay.
you can't miss
It's a
it.
bright yellow house,
Yeah.
you've probably seen it.
I'm seeing the video, yeah.
Great shot.
Great shot.
Thanks.
This, I think, is Lynn's.
Boring. I had really struggled. I had a tripod. I started by taking pictures of a different guitar, and that didn't, none of them were in focus. And this is the only one, and I finally resorted to manual focus. That's the only way
Okay.
I could get it to be in focus. I don't know why.
Maybe it was too dark. I'm not sure. The meter couldn't
I was
read.
just using overhead lights. I didn't use the flash on my camera. I don't know.
That's
Anyway.
an unusual instrument, isn't it?
Yeah, what's the story in that instrument?
A bass.
Well, it's a bass ukulele, is that right?
Oh.
The owner is sitting over here. So I shot at f11, 1/10 of a second, 63 millimeters, ISO 10,000.
10,000. Whoa.
And there's no noise.
You've shown the wood beautifully, just
Yeah.
beautiful,
yeah.
all that grain.
Yeah, the colors of the wood.
And then I just had a piece of black fabric, you can see I had it folded up. There might be dog hairs on it too.
It makes it special.
There's nothing in my house that doesn't have dogs.
Anyway,
Now, if I could only play it. All right. Chuck, this is a cool guitar.
Oh, wow.
It's really, yeah, I'm not a musician. I love music, but I don't have the talent. And but my wife plays a little bit, and she bought this guitar some years ago from a guy who was selling it up in Hillsborough, and it's a Martin guitar, so really
High end.
fine guitar. And it's a backpacker guitar, so it's meant to be, you know, a smaller sound box, and so it's not as difficult to take along. We've never taken it backpacking, but we have brought it along in our camper van a few times. And that's also a rocking chair that we purchased in the mountains, and it's nicely made. And anyway, I thought that was just, there was some nice light coming in the window, and I had a lot of projects going on over the past few weeks, and I thought about different opportunities, and I thought the coolest thing to do would be to go to like a bar and play and, you know, take pictures of a band playing, but I never got it together to do that. So I just started looking around the house and, well, let me see what I can do as a studio. Kind of got inspired by Bill's videos that the guy was talking about, the surfer dude who did the guitars. He was, you know, just saying that how it's a good way when you're inside to can't go outside so much, so look around the house and just find some things to photograph. So yeah. So
Check this,
and,
you should send this to Martin because this is a great product photo,
oh, thanks.
right out of a
It's
catalog.
little soft, and I tried. Yeah, I thought it was. Well, I did.
There's nothing dull about that one.
I think the arms of the rocker are a little out of focus. The guitar, the body of the guitar, until you get up inward, transitions into the neck. I think that's pretty much in focus, and the fretboard is a little soft. So the main focus is on the front, and so it was an ISO of 800, and I shot it with my 52mm fixed lens, but that's or excuse me, my 35mm fixed lens, which is like on a full frame equivalent of a 52. And it's an f3.2, so that was the reason it's soft. f3.2 and as a 30th of a second.
May want to try a focus day.
Yeah,
Because since you can reset it up.
I thought about doing that, and I just didn't. I didn't start this until a couple days ago, and so this shot and then the other shot I did.
But before you leave it, what I like about this best is this picture tells a story.
Yeah.
Even though I know you just put them together, it looks like the guitarist just got up and left.
Yeah, and that's it. Well, thanks for saying, because I figured that might be a little bit of a story element.
I like that.
You know, like
Yeah.
this guitar is waiting to be played. Yeah, it's just waiting for someone to come in here and play it.
Great shot.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
That's my favorite. And yeah, this is okay, but my other instrument that I had around I thought would be interesting, and I borrowed from that video where I floated it. You know, I had a couple little thick washers underneath there to hold it up, and I did it in my garage, which was the darkest place to block out the light. But dang, the fabric, the piece of fabric that I used, it's not cotton, or it's a cotton synthetic blend, and it reflects light, so it's dark gray, but it didn't do what I was hoping it'd do. Like, was it Bob? Was it your picture? You had the black. Oh, not Bob. Frank. It was Frank's picture where you had that fabric really did a good job of absorbing all the light. Yeah. But anyway, so that's what I did, and I tried. So it's an ISO of 1250. Probably if I had shut the ISO down, that would have helped. And then it's the same thing when I fixed my 35mm fixed lens, and it's a 2.8 40th of a second.
And do you play this, Chuck?
Badly.
I'm beginning to think about an InFocus band.
Chuck, that picture, it's in sharp focus, so I'm not saying that it's blurred, but it looks like it's getting ready to run. There's something about it makes it look like it's alive.
Oh, that's cool.
It's the
Well,
angle.
thanks, yeah.
Is it
The angle makes it very dynamic.
Yeah, and also because you've got it up.
Yeah, I thought that was a neat effect, and having the shadow to the back. I had the shadow placed in different positions, and I did use a handheld torch. I did use my remote trigger so I could mess around with the light angle.
You know, Chuck, that you can look at, I don't know, you use elements or what?
I do use elements, yeah.
So you can, it'd be really nice to blur the edge of that shadow. And also you
Okay.
find a little gradient. Put a
I know how to use the blur too, so I could do that. And
Yeah, you just blur the edge, and you can use a gradient, so it goes from darker.
Oh, that's
where
right.
it's right at the edge
Okay.
to lighter.
Yeah.
as you come out. You get a more.
That's a great suggestion, yeah.
Nice shots,
And
though.
some light distortion on the fabric too is strange. I have to get some proper cotton or something, or wool, or something like that.
Well, if you-
to absorb the light.
If you crop it,
Adds to it, instead of it
I think
being
it is
important.
to it,
Yeah.
but it's not uniform.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I really
Yeah.
kind of like that.
Better that way.
I think that's what makes
Makes
it
it
look
look
like it's
dynamic.
Yeah.
getting ready to run off the land.
You can almost imagine it floating in clouds.
Yeah.
Yes.
cool. All right, Helen.
I had started playing with this about 2 weeks ago and was just doing it handheld to see what would happen. And so yesterday I went to the eye doctor and got my eyes dilated, and then I realized I never took any pictures. So I started trying to take pictures on a black background, and the camera just wouldn't do it. I put the guitar on the floor and cursed a few choice words and took one last picture, and that's it.
That's cool.
I couldn't believe it. And I didn't know I had no clue what I shot it at, but I determined that I shot it at 60 millimeters, f11, 4 seconds, ISO of 100.
4 seconds.
4 seconds.
4 seconds.
Wow,
It was in
Stephen.
the, almost dark.
Never
And,
see that.
Yeah.
I had, no, I was on
Well,
tripod.
see.
I was
Okay.
on the tripod, but I could not see what I was.
So it must be really.
Yeah, he's gone.
Low light that you use, if it's 4 seconds long. Is it?
Yeah, it was just a lamp in the room.
Was
That-
was it evening or daytime or?
Late afternoon.
Uh-huh.
I waited, hoping that I could learn, could get some.
Well, there were oohs as the photo came up.
Yeah, I like the shadow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a case in point of the,
Yeah,
that
there
I was just.
you go, perfect,
it was just an accident after many accidents.
Serendipitous.
All
You know,
right.
It would be, what would you think about blurring the floor?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like I said, I couldn't see to do it. So
Ah.
that's nothing, but yeah, it's worth playing with that a little bit and doing more to it, I think.
The floor kind of upstages the
It,
instrument.
yeah, it's too much, but couldn't make it, work with the black background.
It's 2-part bed.
Yeah. It's way too far.
The last two are mine. I took these with I got to tell the story first, with my iPhone 6 in 2012, I think. I was roped into being an interim director of a 14,000 square foot art center, and I met a lot of really cool artists. And the person that did this work works in paper and ink, usually, the intricate designs on paper, but she has applied that talent to that as well. When Bill's talking about the neck on the guitar, it's that on steroids. I mean, these Courtney Kelly. And this was not, like I said, a product. It's stood up on. She brought these in to put a display up at the gift shop for this art center, and these are just propped up in a chair. So there's nothing about staging. But then obviously these are ukuleles, but then there's, I got a picture or two pictures of a guitar.
Aren't they beautiful? They are beautiful. Wow, I wonder how they sound.
Yeah.
Her husband is a graduate of Berklee School of Music and teaches college level music. And I think that the guitars were purchased in a kit, but then put together by her spouse, maybe her too, I don't know. And I don't know that they're actually for sale, but
Is that inlay or printed?
it's ink, it's ink. And look at the writing. I will mount up on eagle's wings. I will run and not be. Of course, if I rotated it. But anyway, thinking about art on a unusual medium. All right, where is end?
Unusual guitar.
That detail is amazing.
Like you said, that's ink, like, so I wonder how she got the ink to, stay there. It almost looks like it's carved and then filled or something.
I think it's probably lacquered over, Chuck, but I don't know for a fact. I didn't touch them to see if there was an indentation that might be wood burning.
So, yeah, I guess, so if it was raw wood, then that would accept the ink perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Did we lose Stephen?
yeah, I think we did. I had the gallery turned down so that I didn't see who was here still, and I don't know when we lost him. But
It was pretty early on.
oh, there's a chat message. I wonder what he said. Cannot hear members, can hear you.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So that's why his own tuned out.
Yes, hearing assistant aids, so maybe they didn't pick up.
Yeah. Well, a lot of creativity, and it was shown on these pictures. So, does somebody, oh, bye, Josie. Linda and Josie, oh, no, you're not both leaving. Does anybody, Frank, I want to hook you up with this, but there's somebody way back when took a picture of somebody in this group playing xylophone over at Farrington someplace.
Oh, yeah, I was down there. Yeah.
But wasn't it one of us that was playing?
No, it wasn't one of us, it was you know him, don't you? Because wasn't he, I ran into
His
him
name
at the
is-
farmer's market, wasn't he playing
His
there?
name is John, I think he knows a lot of people in Barrington.
Markowitz? Is it John Markowitz?
He plays a hammer dulcimer.
Plays the hammer dulcimer, John Markowitz.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway.
It's a beautiful, he has a number of them. They're just beautiful wood instruments and they're just amazing.
Well, I was hoping to recruit him for our band, but I guess not.
You know what about this idea, if we're gonna do this exhibit, just throwing out an idea, why don't we have one wall of all these musical instruments that we photograph?
A collage,
Or a wall of them.
yeah.
Maybe just,
Break it up into different subjects.
yeah, you could do that.
A theme. A theme for a wall.
Yeah, a wall theme.
But if we did that, we could put in a different picture.
A different picture.
Rather than one that's just.
Make one.
Yeah. Well, good meeting, as I said. And other than not letting Stephen hear,
And I'll reissue them. I'm gonna put them into the whole thing.
Does anybody want information about the wood shop?
No, now that I know where it is.
Yeah, you just stop down there, yeah.
We'll just call them.
Which is
Yeah.
ridiculous.
That's what it looked like.
What's our challenge for next week?
Upstairs.
What's our challenge for next week?
Oh, next